So we are going to do a very lovely yoga practice this morning. Floor-based and thinking about how we move our spine. So let's start. I've got a cushion because on my floor work, I really love to have something underneath my hips, especially early in the morning when everything honestly does feel quite rickety. And I have this little blanket here because my knees, the same, they much prefer, if I'm putting my knees down, they much prefer it if there's softness underneath. So take a moment to get yourself set up so you've got everything that you need. And we will start by pressing the sitting bones down, coming into a seated position, letting your hands rest, and just breathing through the nose. And we'll begin by circling our heads, very slowly waking up our bodies this morning. Of course, as we circle our heads, what we're really doing is moving our spine, the part of the spine that creates the neck. And circle gently in the other direction. You might notice how the breath is adjusting and adapting. Making our way back to center where we can circle our shoulders. And circling elbows. And circling arms. And then resting hands on knees and circling the heart. And we're going to do this for a little while, so there's no rush. Go just as slowly as you need to, because here is where we can learn a lot about what's going on in our spines today. So very present, slow, gentle breath as we stay open to what we find here. And changing directions. Coming up to center and inhaling as your heart moves forwards, exhaling as your heart rocks back. Keep your elbows gently tucked in towards you. And see if you can start to change the way the spine's moving. So it's very much like a a jellyfish moving on the current in the sea. Or if you've ever seen those kale fields, it's not kale fields, is it kale fields? The seaweed under the sea where it goes really, really tall and it's long, thin strips of brown. I think I'm saying the wrong word, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. You can imagine your spine is like that, and it's just flowing on a current, and the current actually is inside the spine, the fluid current of your body. At 6:30 in the morning, my spine doesn't actually feel all that current, all that fluid, but I know that it is. And as I soften and breathe a bit deeper, that becomes a little bit more available to me. And then coming back to center. And we'll reach our arms up overhead. Fold our elbows, hold on to either elbow. And breathe here. It's a great place to get a diaphragmatic breath. So as you breathe in, let the tummy expand, give yourself a Buddha belly. And as you breathe out, draw the tummy button in towards the spine. And then we're going to reach the left arm up and take the right arm and wrap it around your ribs as you lean across to the right. You can feel with your fingertips of the right hand into the intercostals, into the spaces between the ribs. And give yourself a little bit of self-massage to notice what's going on there. It's a part of the body it's not often at the forefront of our awareness. And very often when I'm doing a massage, actually this place can be really quite tender and can offer quite a lot of relief, because if it's tense here, then that really hinders the breath. Well done. And then slowly coming back up, and we'll take that left hand down to the floor and reach the right arm up. And then as you exhale, walk the left hand away, drop the right arm alongside the ear. And then staying across to the side like that, we're just going to sweep that right arm around to the small of your back. Look up towards the ceiling. Make your way back up to center, and that left hand can come across to your right knee as you rotate to face the right. And then slowly come back to center, both hands on either knee. And you're going to inhale and reach both arms up overhead. And again, holding on to the elbows, you might be able to notice switching sides. So usually one side is dominant. Let's just switch it and see how that feels. And then the right arm is going to extend and the left hand's going to come to the side of your body. And again, you're just going to feel into the ribs, the space between the ribs. What's going on here? And then start to lean across to the left. How's your breathing changing? And I actually feel quite a big difference. This side is much harder to breathe. I wonder what's true for you. And then gently bringing from here, where did we go? We took that left hand around to the small of the back, didn't we? And then turn the gaze up towards the roof or the ceiling, rather. And then that right hand comes down to the left knee, and we turn our gaze across to the left. And then release and come back to center. Noticing what's changed, if anything has. And we'll drop our hands around behind our back. Just turn the fingertips so they point towards the sitting bones. And then soften the elbows, but push through the palm of the hand and lift the heart. And maybe drop the head back, or if the neck's not a fan of that, keep looking straight ahead. See if you can lift the neck up out of the collar. How does it feel to breathe here? And coming back up to center. And walking your hands forwards. Chin drops towards chest. And take a moment to rock from side to side here. You can walk your hands around and explore. And then walk your hands back in. We're going to uncross our legs and cross them the other way. The way that feels a bit weird. And then walk your hands forwards again. Coming into a forward fold. And then walking your hands back in. Coming to center, noticing what's going on in the spine now. And we'll come up onto all fours. We'll do a little low down vinyasa. Get a little bit of flow going. So onto all fours. A little bit of cat and cow to start with. You can notice for yourself how your breath adjusts to this old favorite of a movement sequence. And actually, I'm finding that my hips want to do circles. So if you're the same, maybe add some circles into the hips. And switching directions. And then tucking the toes under, just let the knees hover away from the floor for a few moments. drawing up through the belly towards the spine, and then lifting the tailbone high and dropping the heels down towards the floor. And just pedal through the legs. And then lowering your knees down to the ground again. We'll walk our hands forwards. Keep the bottom up high as we melt our hearts towards the ground. And depending what's going on with your mobility this morning, you might rest your chin on the floor. You might rest your forehead on the floor. If you have wonky shoulders and it makes it more comfortable to have the arms wider apart, you could try that. See if whilst you're here, you can slide your shoulder blades down towards your sitting bones. And then slowly roll the hips forwards and we'll come to lie on our front. Laying all the way down, and let's take our arms alongside our body, fingers pointing towards sitting bones, legs together, pointing the toes. Hips press into the floor as you inhale and rise. Lowering yourself down, hands either side of your chest. Pressing back and sitting back on your heels. You might split your knees apart, keep your toes together. And come into extended prayer pose. Maybe we walk the hands across to the right. Left hand can just come on top of right hand. Breathing into that side body again. And coming back through to center. And then walking the hands across to the left, so right hand comes on top of left hand. And then returning back to center. And coming up onto all fours again. Tucking the toes under. Let's sit back on our heels because we haven't done this for ages. A little bit of fire toes. Waking up the plantar fascia. And then bringing the hands down to the floor, letting the tailbone lift as we come into a down dog. And wriggle through the legs again. And start to play with bending, doing a deep bend in the knees and then straightening the legs. And then looking ahead, let's bring the right knee forward as we come into a pigeon. If you've got your cushion handy, then it's really nice to just drop the cushion underneath the right hip and come up onto your fingertips. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Take some breaths here. And then walk your hands forwards as you fold into a forward bend. And just noticing the spine here. Noticing if there's anything you can do to change it. Our theme for this month is prosperous. And so as we practice, that translates into knowing that you have enough time, knowing you have enough space to give yourself whatever adjustment is needed. And also to recognize how incredible your body is to support you as we make these shapes. Okay, and then coming back up again. Tuck the toes under of the back foot, push through the hands, coming back into a down dog. A little pedal, maybe move the cushion out of the way. And then looking ahead, drawing that left knee forward. Making your way into your version of pigeon. In a moment, sitting up tall. Keeping that neck easy and free. And exhaling as you come forwards. And then inhaling as you come back up again. Removing that cushion. And we'll take our legs out in front of us for our forward bend. So I'm going to use my cushion for my seated forward bends. And I'll just perch on the edge. So the sitting bones are tilted and then my pelvis has a little bit of a boost. For our first one, we're going to have our knees bent. We're going to inhale and reach our arms up, and that's to give us this space in the torso. So if you imagine your inner organs, like your liver and your kidneys and your digestive system, you're giving them a bit of space. And then as you fold forward, you're going to just hook your armpits onto your knees. And what you'll find is that then the thigh bone is like a little splint that the torso is resting upon. We're going to keep it resting. This first forward bend does not look pretty, but we're curious about where we're going to go with this. So without letting the torso come away from the thighs, you're just going to work your feet a little bit further forward. And you'll notice for yourself when you hit an edge. So I can feel the tiniest pinch coming in here. So I'm just going to stay here. And it really is all about listening. And then breathing here. You might want to pulse here. You might want to wriggle. With a bit of time, it might start to change. Inhaling as you come back up. And we'll straighten that left leg, bend the right knee, and let the sole of the foot come to the inner thigh. Janu Sirsasana. If you have more cushions and your knee is flying high, it is lovely to have something underneath this bent leg. Gives it a whole new dynamic when you do that. Okay, hands are either side of the left leg and the toes are pointing up. So again, you're gonna begin the journey in the pelvis, find pelvic floor. Then you're going to create space for the organs inside the body by lifting the rib cage up. But the shoulder blades do the opposite, they drop down. That feels like the scaffolding of the pose is in place. Inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, come forwards. And maybe the hands come to the floor and you just slowly walk forwards. Maybe the hands come to the foot. Every day is different. Because we're so very prosperous, we have time, we have space, and we have the grace to take what we find and love it. We're not slipping into a judgment or a feeling of it should look a certain way. And then inhale as you come back up. And we'll slide that left foot forward. I'm going to turn my back to you a little bit because my hips are now going to come to a slight angle. I'm looking directly between the space of either knee. Still the left foot pressing away, the toes are pointing up. And I'm just going to drop my left hand inside my left leg. And I'm going to take my right hand behind me. And again, think about the pelvis. Where are the sitting bones? Can I lift the rib cage? How's my breath doing? And then when I'm ready, I'm going to inhale and reach the right arm up. And as I exhale, walk that left hand down towards the left foot. So there's this fabulous tensegrity in the body. As you move one part, every part adjusts to support you. So can you notice what's kicking in to support you? I can notice that my right leg is tensing up to give me some more support. I've done loads of yoga this week after a summer holiday of not much at all. And so everything's very stiff, very tender. And I can feel how the body's reacting to this stretch. I wonder if you can too. Inhale as you come up. Let's place that right hand down, pop up onto the right knee and stretch out through the left arm overhead. See if you can get the hips and the heart high. And then slowly make your way back. And we'll bring our legs straight out in front of us. And I've just noticed the time. I'm going to go a little bit over today. I hope that's not a problem. You're going to bend your left knee, take the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Inhale as you reach up. And exhale as you come forwards. Maybe the hands come either side. Keep the rib cage lifting. Keep the space. And then inhale as you come up. We'll slide that right heel forwards. So we're looking straight out between the space, between the knees. Right hand's on the inside of the right leg. The right foot still strong. Left hand can come behind. Find the pelvis. Notice what's going on. Stabilize yourself. Lift the ribs. Inhale as the left arm rises. And exhale as the right hand moves down towards the right foot. I'm just dropping my left arm because of my frozen shoulder going on. And breathing here. And then inhaling as you come back up, planting that left hand down, hopping up onto your knee and stretching out to the side. And then coming back to sitting. And take your hands to your heart, drop your chin to your chest. Namaste.